I do want to start with some of these deals that you've struck in the past year because they
Sure,
have
sure.
been
Yeah, happy to talk
true
about it.
true headline makers. Let's start with Red Bull Racing, since we've had an unbelievable F1 season, and that's been a really incredible deal. I think everybody loves the story of a deal, right, in our space. So was F1 something that when you started at Oracle about 2 years ago, right?
Mhm.
Was
Yeah,
that
the beginning
something
of
that you were immediately targeting?
I was thinking when I started that Formula One would be one of the places that we look. It's just such a data-driven sport. That makes it a great vehicle for storytelling around how our technology is used in an impactful way. For these guys, impactful to their business and impactful to their results on track. I love great storytelling opportunities for technology with sports because I find that it helps better explain in a more sort of broadly understandable way the magic of technology, of when customers say this has completely changed the way I work. If you're a food packaging equipment maker, okay, that story, will be great, understandable to people in that industry, but maybe not as widely accessible. Whereas sports, everyone kind of understands and relates to it. So what I've found is that if you can explain and show how these sports organizations or in a sports broadcast, how your technology is being used, it's a very, powerful alternative to traditional advertising because you're not just telling people, you're showing them. You're showing how your technology is being used.
It makes total sense. And I'll admit that I followed F1 from afar, but didn't know a whole lot about it and certainly didn't quite grasp the level of real-time data and analytics that are being used lap by lap in a race until, like so many Americans, Drive to Survive came into my life. Was that something that you were watching early on? I think it debuted in 2018.
Kind of funny. I started in my previous job. I did some work with Formula One at the league level, and we started working with them in 2018, right as that show came out. And I, like many Americans, didn't know too much about Formula One. I mean, I knew what it was, and sort of it was in the periphery, but it wasn't something I followed. And you couldn't create a better guide to getting into a sport than what they did there. And so that really helped me ramp up and like totally sucked me in. I went from not really caring about the sport, to be honest, to, it being probably the number one sport that I follow right now, maybe the exception of the Warriors, but
You're not alone.
yeah, it was really, really smart that, I mean, you think about one of the best sports media deals of all time outside of the mega broadcasting $1 billion deals, Netflix and Formula One agreeing to that type of deal that gave the production team that level of access. It was one of the smartest things. There's a woman named Ellie that runs communications for Formula One, and she was behind a lot of it. And I think it's been the best marketing they've ever done.
Oh yeah, every league right now. How do we make the next Drive to Survive? It's amazing. Well, like I said, we had the pleasure of working with Toby McAuliffe on your team on kind of sketching out, okay, F1, yes, but who, right? Which
Yep.
team and the different value propositions of the different teams
Yeah.
and the type of exposure. So can
I
you
can tell
kind
you
of,
how we looked at it. So we had a bunch of criteria, right? It's like hiring someone, multi-dimensional optimization exercise. Ideally, you want someone that's a 10 on like 12 dimensions, but it's a little bit of different levels for each person. So we wanted to, first of all, you got to have someone that's towards the top of the grid. You got to have a team that's winning, both, from a brand perspective, but also just practically the top of the field is on TV substantially more than the rest. But really mostly about, we want to be associated with winners and we want to have our technology help them win even more. So that was one criteria. Then another criteria would be that they are kind of modern and creative in their approach to marketing. That we want to have a team that we come to them with like a crazy idea that we think can get a lot of awareness. They're like, cool, that sounds like a great idea. Not, ooh, I don't know, that sounds like a lot of work. And there's a very broad spectrum of scores I'd rate all the teams on that category.
Yep.
And I'd say next would be, and I mean, this is like absolute prerequisite, is they have to be interested and aggressive in using technology and viewing their technology choices and technology development work as strategic to them winning. Also modern in their approach. While Oracle's been around for 40 plus years, we're only marketing our cloud products, and we want a cloud forward partner for all of our partnerships. They really got to be into doing everything in the cloud, which Red Bull obviously was. Yeah, I mean, you sort of combine all those things together, and you get narrowed down to a couple teams. And Red Bull, we were just aligned on everything.